And welcome back. It is now 5:43 and all the excitement today obviously centered on Cape Canaveral, Florida, where SpaceX is launching their first manned mission to the International Space Station. And joining us this morning, just very happy to have him aboard, is the director of NASA's Armstrong Research Flight Center, David McBride. David, thank you for waking up early. I appreciate it.
Good morning. This is a normal wake-up time for us here in the desert.
Is this a normal wake-up time for a launch day or just your normal wake-up time?
Well, it'd be a normal pre-coronavirus wake-up time for us. We have our habits.
Is there a lot of excitement out there at Armstrong and Edwards? Even though the launch obviously taking place in Florida, still a lot of excitement to see what happens?
Well, there's a lot of excitement for NASA all around. This is a big event, getting astronauts from U.S. soil again. So this is a huge, supporting the International Space Station and reducing our reliance on foreign carriers. So we're loving this. We do what we can here at Armstrong. We're providing support of the flight with, and have been even during this coronavirus episode, with transporting people and equipment from Southern California, from Hawthorne to Cape Canaveral to support the launch.
Edwards, of course, always been very involved in NASA projects. Of course, no one can forget about the shuttles and the number of shuttle landings that took place out at Edwards. Can you talk just a little bit about that? I mean, the last time a spacecraft actually landed there was 10 years ago, I believe, August of 2009, when Discovery came down, the last shuttle to land out here.
That's correct. Almost half the shuttles that ever flew landed here in southern Kern County in Edwards Air Force Base.
You have Doug Hurley and Robert Benkin, who are on board as SpaceX for today's ride. They've got a lot of shuttle experience. Did you ever meet either one, and what have you heard about them?
Well, I did cross paths with them when they were flying the shuttles, when they'd land and do their practice landings at Edwards Air Force Base on the dry lake bed and at the runways as well. Benkin actually was a test pilot school colleague of three of our pilots at Armstrong. Our director for flight operations, Troy Asher, pilot Jim Less, and Tim Williams. And actually all three of those are supporting today's flight and are at Kennedy right now in anticipation and watching the flight. Hope the weather holds up for today, but they're there supporting it and have personal connection with the astronauts.
When the shuttle program ended back with, I believe, Flight 135, they were talking about the expense of flying the shuttles. Is there anything that the shuttle could still do today if it was still flying that something like the SpaceX could not do? Or are we just transferring into a new way of getting to space and supporting the ISS?
Yeah, we're transitioning into a new way of getting into space. Obviously, the shuttle was very valuable for the time it flew. It carried large payloads. It was very good at that, but it was expensive, and it obviously flew with some risk. But all space flight does fly with some risk to it.
You know, and talking about all the research being done out at NASA, at Edwards, NASA Armstrong Research Center, you've had many big projects over the last few years. I mean, one of the biggest ones I like to think back to, SOFIA, the Stratospheric Observatory for Infrared Astronomy. Can you talk about other types of technology being developed or worked on out there with you that is in support of some of the things that SpaceX might be doing today and in the future?
Well, in support of what SpaceX is doing, its focus is primarily on space flight. Our focus is atmospheric aircraft flight. So we're working on some big programs like the X-59. It's a low-boom supersonic airplane being built here in Palmdale in Los Angeles County. It'll demonstrate the ability to fly supersonically and with little or no sonic boom, which will open up a new market for supersonic aircraft transportation. So we're focused on aircraft transportation, but we are supporting SpaceX with what we can here on this flight with telemetry, monitoring the flight as it orbits the Earth, and with our uplink and downlink capabilities. So we're doing what we can here to support the operation today. Will there be goosebumps for everybody in the space community? Oh, absolutely. This is the first flight of a type of vehicle with and the first one with a crew. So there's always some nervousness and some goosebumps and excitement. So we're looking forward to this. All right, David McBride, director of NASA's Armstrong Research Flight Center. We appreciate your time this morning and enjoy the launch. We hope it goes through. Okay, thank you.